Welcome to the Peew,
where nothing said before welcome to the Peew
will be used in the pew. Thank God.
As Michael had a little slip of the tongue before we started the show.
Ernie has had slips of the tongue as well. Other shows. We won't talk about any of them.
We were talking about Amanda Lepore's book and her book party, which was on Tuesday at the Standard Hotel in the Boom Boom Room, hosted by Suzanne Barsh. There were 5 decades of nightclub royalty there.
Have there been 5 decades of nightclubs?
Yes, because we
So
started with the 70s, like Carmen D'Alessio was there.
Oh my God, can you believe in
the legendary hostess of...
Carmen D'Alessio was there?
Yes, I just said that.
Yeah, no, I'm saying...
legendary hostess at Studio 54.
How does she look?
She looked really good.
You know what? I saw her at Boutique like a few months ago.
She looked great.
So it's the same exactly as
the 70s, and then Suzanne, of course, represents the 80s. Some of the club kids in House of Field were there, so they represent that 80s, 90s period. Of course, Amanda was there. She represents the 90s. Gazelle Paola was there.
I would argue that she represents the 90s, the aughts, and the teens.
Well, and then the contemporary club kids from the present were there. So
Amanda and Sophia.
5 decades of glamour.
Amanda and Sophia
glitz.
have both been very good.
Sophia Lamar was not there.
Well, but
surprise.
But they've both been very good with keeping up with the kids. You know.
Yep.
I remember when the Misshapes came out in the 90s. And was it? Did you send me the book, the Misshapes book?
The Misshapes, no.
Okay, well, somebody did. I think it was James, and there was all these new kids and Sophia, and then when the British Club Kid book came out, it was all these British Club Kids and Sophia, and now it's all the hipsters in Brooklyn and Sophia. So she's done very well with that whole Club Kid thing of how we were supposed to be the embodiment of every new trend. Remember?
Right.
So Sophia was the only one who did it.
Although I never see her when I go out, though.
I don't either. But I mean, I see her.
Well, you don't really go out.
I see her on social media. I don't, but I see her on social media a lot.
Yeah. Well, Amanda, as usual, looked great. I mean,
she looks better now than she did.
Well, she's had 25 years of practice to refine the look.
Well, yeah.
And 25 years of surgery to refine the body.
Suzanne looks better now than she did back then too.
Yeah, she looked really good. Suzanne
if you look at the...
we have some video footage. We'll show it right now.
And okay.
Didn't that look like fun?
Now, we also... there is also footage. I don't know if we can show it. If we're allowed to show it. But if you compare how Suzanne looks now with how she looked on the Geraldo show, it's like a completely different person, and she looks 10 times better now than she did.
I don't know. I mean, I actually have photographs in my photo archive of Suzanne where she looks really good in the 80s.
Well, maybe at a photo shoot or whatever. But
no, it wasn't a photo shoot. It was like snapshots that I took of her either in her clubs or that my friend Alexis took of her. At which club?
Because...
Or at parties,
because at one point, and I think it was when Matthew and Zaldi started to style her, she kind of got a little bit. She went more in the glam direction, less goofy, more glam.
I don't know. I thought that I have pictures of her where she's wearing like the cowboy hat and the jeans jacket.
I think that's Matthew and Zaldi.
Oh, okay. Well, she looks really good.
Yeah. She doesn't look so great on the Geraldo show.
Okay, well, there were, you didn't look so great.
No, that lighting. Oh my God.
Either.
No, it was that awful lighting. Don't you remember? No.
I don't think I was on it, or I had to take it, but I got there
like
late.
They had hamburger face, that awful. And then the next time they had us on Herald, they got all different lighting. They must have realized that, don't make them look like they have a hamburger face again, because we all had that glossy, flashy, like celebrity look.
No. So the place.
So
was
that's how
packed.
Amanda looked in the picture. I saw the picture of you and Amanda that you tweeted.
Oh yeah, let's show that picture now.
Yeah.
She looks like
a blow-up doll.
Yeah, she does. She looks very artificial in that picture.
But she looks... I won't say... She looks smoother. And has, as you say, erased all traces of humanity. And she has that alien-like smoothness and perfection, that she hasn't...
I think that's a good way of describing it, like alien perfection, because really she doesn't have the flaws of aging that normal people would have, or any of the unpleasant bulges, or
No, and I mean,
skin
she's really taken that whole.
deformities.
She's taken the whole, the people who are famous, Joan Rivers and Joan Collins and Cher and everybody. She's taken what they did, and even Phyllis Diller, and who is she? She's had like a million.
Well, she's taken what they've done, but she's done it much better.
Well, that's what I was to say. She's taken what they've done, and she's honed it into like this an art form that she.
Which is strange because it's not like she's richer than they were. So how is it that?
Well, but it's more important to her than it is to them because that's what Amanda is. It represents her, So she has to stay. I remember reading someplace once that Princess Diana had her hair cut every single day because she. Just tiny micro centimeter, because she never wanted her hairstyle. She wanted her hairstyle to be always exactly the same, and that's what Amanda does. She has a little bit of.
But her hair doesn't always look exactly the same.
I mean, with plastic surgery, she has like a little bit of Botox, a little bit of.
I mean, now, no, but if you recall, like in the late '90s, early aughts, her plastic surgery look wasn't that cute.
No, now,
I thought it was very.
That's why I say
it was kind of like Horror Show.
That's why I say she's honed it. She knows exactly. Oh, I need a little bit of this to stay exactly even all the time.
Right. She looks way better now than she did, like say, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
The party was packed. There were the book is great. It looks beautiful. There's so many photographs.
$40. That's such a great price.
I think it's less. We bought it at Bookmark, so it was more expensive there because it's a more expensive bookstore. But I think there were copies at Barnes and Noble for either $25 or $30.
It's unbelievable. And it's how many pages?
I don't know. It's like 150 or 200 pages, and it's like very thick paper and full page photographs.
What's the publisher?
Reagan Books.
That should have been a $100 book, but I guess they want to democratize.
I think that in this day and age, it's publishers are really struggling to sell books, so they can't. I guess they didn't want to make it too expensive. And also, if they publish, say, or if they printed 50,000 copies, then it might be enough for them to sell it for $25. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how book publishing works, but. You can't make it too expensive.
When Disco Bloodbath came out, they offered James, as part of his payment, either 1,000 books or $20,000. And he picked the $20,000, which was a huge mistake because they're going for like $300 now, and he would have made a fortune.
Right, but back then he probably needed $20,000 really badly to pay somebody.
Electric bill.
Yes, the electric bill. We'll call it that.
We have to pay our electric bill now. We'll be right back.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Welcome back to the Peew.
Welcome back to the Peew.
So aren't you curious what Amanda said about you in her book?
Yes, I am. What did she say about me?
She says that she hears
How does she love me? let her count the ways.
Well, first of all, she talks about how, intelligent and creative you are.
Here. Okay, now, since you started off with that, it's all downhill from here. If you would have said, she says that you're an awful person, I said, oh, great, it's going to end up. But, okay, tell me, how does it end?
Well, at the end, she says that she hears you're living in Brooklyn, writing a book, and selling lithographs with pictures of her face. And she wishes you the best.
And it's unfortunate. Those are the lithographs that we don't really sell because they have the line across.
Well, there's a picture of her face right there on a painting.
It's not my favorite one, though. I like the Warholian one.
So
But,
maybe she was misquoted. I don't know. Maybe she meant painting. And...
No, we did make the lithograph. We just
Okay.
got something.
So she talked about how she thought you were a creative genius and that you were a very special person, but that you took a detour on drugs, and that led you down a very dark road that derailed your chances of being successful.
So she basically said what everybody else already knows.
Right. I mean, I don't think that's an insult. Or,
No,
I mean,
come on.
it's just an observation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually quite factual.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you don't even deny it.
No.
So, yeah, she recognized your gifts, and which you still have. Yeah.
My gifts?
Your gifts, yeah. You still have
gifts.
them.
Sorry.
You know, the God-given ones.
Yeah. The meaningless ones.
Well, brilliance and creativity are not meaningless.
No, I know. I jest. I'm being facetious.
So you know, she talked about that. She talked about the times at Disco 2000.
Yeah, what did she talk about at Disco 2000?
Well, that it was really fun. That they used to hold court in the chapel in the back.
Oh, is that what they called it?
She talked about
when they would all hide in the back room,
right?
Because they didn't want to dance.
Although she did admit that she worked in the cage.
She did.
She wasn't too good to do it, like Armin Roth.
This is how Amanda danced in the cage.
Well, Armin Roth, who you paid,
wouldn't even
get in the cage.
No,
as others wouldn't. I got it.
She was. Amanda was a trooper. But what they called holding court was really hiding from me because they didn't want to have. Because at 4 o'clock in the morning, I would be cracking the whip, saying, "Go out on the main dance floor," because that's when Kyoki would play all his best music from 4 to 5,
right. Yeah.
and I didn't want the dance floor to empty. So I would
those people never danced though.
I know. That's why I would make them dance. And so they would go out there and begrudgingly dance. And it was sort of like, rolling their eyes like that.
Can't you just pay us? We want to leave.
Yeah. And I wouldn't pay them until 5 o'clock because I wanted them to stay.
Well, I remember dancing a lot there. I mean, I had to also since I was Clara the Chicken. I mean, I danced for hours. But even if I hadn't been wearing that horrendous chicken suit, I would have been dancing.
Yeah, well, because it was fun to dance out there because they were all out there dancing. If they hadn't been out there dancing, it would have been as fun.
There were always at least some, like the Raver. It was fun
I know,
dancing
but
with
I
the
wanted
Ravers
the top tier.
Right. Oh, they never danced.
Right. But
they still don't dance.
Well, they danced when I made them dance, and then it made the dance floor seem more fun.
Well,
and
now nobody makes them dance, so they don't dance.
But the interesting thing about that is that in the end it did work. They because the top tier club kids were out there, when the film crews would come and film the dance floor at Disco 2000, they would report that all of the coolest people were dancing to this music, which they weren't. Right. But they would say that they were, and then it made the music end up being the cool music that we wanted it to be.
The other thing that she really talked about in her chapter on Disco 2000 and You was the Nightlife Achievement Awards, and how you had your brilliant concept of having these B or D list stars come and receive these like glued together awards.
If that,
because she was describing your theory about how it was our celebration of how plastic and disposable our culture was, that we had these D list celebrities. And so she was really praising you in the book for having come up with that concept.
Well, Amanda really got understood the concept, and she would always use Ginger Grant and Lily Munster as example of the costume within a costume within a costume. Because, like, if Lily Munster or Ginger Grant was going to play a nurse, it would be Tina Louise playing Ginger Grant playing the nurse. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if Amanda was going to do Blood Feast or whatever, it would be Amanda doing Blood Feast. What I mean?
She would just be like a little smear
it would be on
top of her glitter lipstick.
Yeah, and Gilligan's Island was perfect because Ginger would do it in her glamorous way, and Mr. Owl would do it in his money way, and
Right. She talks about how
she called it the peeling of the onion,
right. So she
personality.
So she describes that in the book, and she talks about how when Donna Douglas, who played Ellie Mae Clampett on the Beverly Hillbillies, Amanda dressed in like capri pants and like some really tight shirt with boobs spilling out, just like Ellie Mae did on that show. So it was kind of her nod.
And we found out that that night that Ellie Mae was actually both a lesbian and a born again Christian.
I don't see that as being incompatible.
No, I don't either. I'm just saying.
So in general, the chapter on Disco 2000 and You was very positive.
So what else is in the book, though?
I haven't read the rest of the book.
Oh.
I just wanted to read the part about
Yeah.
the freaks and Disco 2000.
Well, there must be more about freaks in the other chapters.
I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with... Well, I mean, yes, because she talks about... In other chapters, she seems to talk about her work in the dungeon. And she talks...
That was before Disco, right?
Right. Yes, because in the chapter on Disco 2000, she says how she didn't have to work in the dominatrix dungeon as much now that she started working at Disco 2000 and getting paid.
Right.
For
But
doing
now,
nothing.
are you talking about Belle de Jour or...
I don't know. I haven't read the rest of the book.
No,
I just got it on Tuesday.
Belle de Jour, she worked at during the Disco 2000. That was the fetish place, and it wasn't really a dungeon. It was she would have to go put lipstick on, like people who have like lipstick fetishes. She would go put her lipstick on over and over and over. And
Well,
over.
I'll have to report back in
next
in
week.
a couple of weeks after I've read the book.
Weeks.
Well, I mean, and we will film again in a couple of weeks, and by then I presumably will have read more of her book.
Yeah.
That's it for now.
Bye.
See you next time.